Hey YouTube, Jax here with another tutorial for you guys. In this tutorial I'm going to be covering mainly textures and how to optimize your textures to save memory, and so you guys can add a lot more textures with more detail. To start with, I'd like to say that TGA files, they have problems in the UDK in that they sometimes get saved as a 32-bit file, even though they have no useful alpha information. Now, the real way to tell if your texture is being misused by the Unreal Engine is you just hover over it, and right in the info to the far right you see in the brackets DXT1. That is good. You want DXT1. It's the standard compression system that the Unreal Engine 3 uses to compress your texture files. And that is good. It saves a lot of memory. If you're using DXT5, that means you have alpha information somehow, and the Unreal Engine is trying to compress that, and it does a terrible job at compressing alpha information. So if you have DXT5 where that DXT1 is on this texture, then you need to get that fixed, because that is a big problem. Or not so much of a big problem as something that could really save you some memory. Now, as a kind of a bit of a spin-off that, what you really want to do is, instead of using alpha information pretty much at all, you want to create a merge map, and that's where you use the alpha information to store it in the R, G, and B channels rather than an actual alpha channel. So go ahead and do that instead. That is a lot better option. Now, another way to save memory I'm going to show you guys is how to generate a specular map instead of actually having to use a real one. So I made these two materials just a little while ago. I'll go and open up the regular material with a specular map, and what you see here is a regular diffuse texture sample as well as another texture sample that is a specular map. It's not for this texture, but it'll do the job well. As you can see here in this little box, it looks pretty good. It's got some shine on it. Now let's run over to the other material. This is with a generated specular map, and it looks just about as good, if not, in my opinion, better. Now, the main reason why you want to generate a specular, and I'll come back to that and show you guys how to make it, is to save memory. The regular material with a specular map, you can see it right below status. It's memory, 1.33 megabytes of data being stored in this material. It's quite a lot. Now let's check out the generated specular map and just take a gander over here. It's at 683.57 kilobytes. That is, well, that's about half. In fact, that's almost exactly half the memory usage just by generating your own specular map. And that is a big deal. That's a big deal. You can use twice as many textures. Hypothetically speaking, you could use twice as many textures in your game than just by using generated specular maps, which it's pretty big deal. So what I did in here is I took a texture sample and plugged that right into the diffuse like you would normally do. Then I took the red channel and plugged it into an A and B for a multiply, which the shortcut is M and then left click. So pressed M and left click and you'll pop up a multiply. Get rid of that. And then I just plugged this multiply into another multiply, and then I had a constant, which should be able to press C and left click and bring up a constant. Oh no, that's a mask. Well, constants are right here, so go into constant, new constant, and you'll get one of these. And then just plug in 16 right here, and then plug that into the B for this multiply right here. And then I got another constant, added 16, and then plugged that right into specular power. And this is the result that I got. You can kind of experiment with the different values, but that's generally good for textures. And the result is with a little bit more work, or maybe even less, depending on what you prefer using, either your photo editing software or UDK. You might save time, and you'll definitely save memory, which is a big deal. I cannot stress that enough. Half the memory. Do this whenever you can. Do this. If you need to add a specular map, what you can do is just plug into this multiply, grab a specular map with really low detail, like 256 by 256, and plug it into B, and you'll get a good multiply, and you'll get a little bit better quality specular map. So just do that, but just don't use regular specular maps. They're bad. They take up way too much memory. It's not worth it, generally speaking. It might be worth it in some areas that really need it, but that'd really be up to you guys. But just trust me, try and stay away from it. Half the memory. Imagine what you can do with half the memory of your textures. Okay, well, that wraps it up for this video tutorial. Thank you guys for watching, and please comment, rate, subscribe, all that jazz. Let's get this going. I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye.